JN is proud to present
Caribbean Lifestyle TV is brought to you by. Coming up this week on Caribbean Lifestyle TV.
The crossing was long ago before the continental drift. We crossed over and came over here, and then after the continental drift, we knew what tide, what current would take us here. And we, from the place that they call Africa, were the first ones over here. When Columbus came, he found us here. So all of this crossing, and I was in the loins of my father, grandmother, grandmother. So it's a lot of crossing.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
This week on Caribbean Lifestyle TV, we shine the spotlight on a musical legend. And I say a musical legend, ladies and gentlemen, because he crossed many rivers to get here. If you're from Jamaica, you have Black River, you have Milk River, you have Hope River. But most of all, ladies and gentlemen, he crossed the Caribbean Sea to get here to New York City. Who do we speak of this week on Caribbean Lifestyle TV, ladies and gentlemen? His purpose for being here in New York this week is because, one, he was inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and two, Caribbean Lifestyle found a way to catch up with the one and only Mr. Jimmy Cliff. Jimmy, welcome to Caribbean Lifestyle TV, sir.
Blessed love, and thank you very much. Also, the crossing was long ago before the continental drift. We crossed over and came over here, and then after the continental drift, we knew what tide, what current would take us here. And we, from the place that they call Africa, were the first ones over here. When Columbus came, he found us here. So all of this crossing, and I was in the loins of my father, grandmother, grandmother. So it's a lot of crossing.
You know, Jimmy Cliff, let's go back to Jamaica. You were born in Jamaica. You were born in a time when the struggles for us as African people was such that we probably couldn't even drink at a water fountain. Coming up, Jimmy Cliff, what was it like?
Well, I experienced all of the discriminations, the ignorance, and I had to fight through them. I fight through them with gathering knowledge for myself, listening to elders, and finding the way, finding the root of myself. So it was a struggle, and I found a way out to overcome them.
Now, Jimmy Cliff, the individual, an actor, a singer. You're here in New York, you are inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But before we get there to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a lot of us grew up in Jamaica, grew up on your movie, probably one of the most famous movies out of Jamaica, The Harder They Come. Now, how did Jimmy Cliff transition from a singer then into the acting role and into The Harder They Come?
Well, undoubtedly, it is the most famous movie that came out of Jamaica because it impacted the world in a way that many other movies that were not made in Jamaica impacted it. So it is in that category. But my first love was acting. And when the opportunity came to do the movie, I moved at it because acting was my first love, and it was an opportunity for me to play a lead role in a movie. So yes.
How did the opportunity came about for Jimmy Cliff to be in The Harder They Come? Was this movie actually, was this movie based on your life story? Did it have anything to do with you per se?
It wasn't based on my life story. It was based on the life story of a character in Jamaica called Reagan, whose name was Ivan Martin, but everybody call it Reagan. When when you hear a man say, a man the Reagan, it means, his fire, brimstone and everything, So, okay. It was based on Reagan's life as the first outlaw in Jamaica that had guns going around and, shoot police and all them kind of thing. But the musical part of the character now was not related to Ivan. It was, a lot of it related to me and other musicians, other characters in Jamaica.
Now, when you got the call to be in The Order They Come, how did that make you feel as a singer transition into a movie like The Order They Come? How did you feel then?
Well, first of all, the producer, director, Perry Ensley, wanted me as a songwriter in the movie, because he met me and said, I'm making a movie, you think you can write some music for it? I said, what do you mean you think? I can do anything. And with that answer, he said, well, this man can be more than the writer of the music for the movie. This man can be the actor for the movie. And then that's how I got the role after that.
Now, after the movie came out and the movie hit, how did that impacted your life?
Well, profoundly, because it was the higher point of my career prior to that. So all over the world, people see me now as an actor, not just as a singer-songwriter. And so it really catapulted me on the world stage.
Now, Mr. Cliff, Dr. Cliff, because you wear many hats. The last time I actually saw you here in New York, you were here attending and you were honored by the University of the West Indies. And every time I listen to you speak, sir, you remind me so much of the late, great Professor Rex Netherford. You have the sound of a Professor Rex Netherford, and you speak so profoundly. Now, when you wear the title Dr. Cliff and you go around, how does that make you feel, and how do they receive you as Dr. Cliff?
Well, thank you for comparing me with the illustrious Professor Rex Netherford, because he is really one of the illustrious sons that has come out of Jamaica and the Caribbean. I have the highest respect for him. Well, the doctorate now, my father wanted me to be a doctor. But when my father sent me to Kingston to go to school, and I divert and start to do what I really love, which is music, my father said, that boy, I send that boy to go to school. And however, I have become a doctor. But not a medical doctor, of course, but I have become a doctor. So it makes me feel good, because I fulfilled my father's wishes. And also it carries another level of respect when I walk into somewhere, Jimmy Cliff is here. Oh, Jimmy Cliff, the singer, songwriter, actor. Okay, Dr. Jimmy Cliff is here. Oh yes, Mr. Cliff, Dr. Cliff, please. So it opens some doors, and I appreciate it.
Jimmy, when I listen to you when I listen to you talk on different occasions, I get the understanding that you're very, very deep in your culture. At times I listen to you make certain statements, and I know that the fact that when you started singing, as I mentioned earlier on, you came up in a time when racism was rampant. And when I listen to you talk, Jimmy, and I hear how deep you go into this whole Africa thing, how did you get so deep into the African